The UFC just announced a banger card for UFC 304 in Manchester. I'm going to go through all these fights quickly, and then I'm going to break them down one by one. So they announced Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards for the welterweight championship. They announced Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blaydes for the interim heavyweight championship, which is crazy. We'll talk about that in a second, interim heavyweight. Anyways, they announced Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. They announced Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze, although I think this was announced before. And they announced Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape, which has already been announced on Mokaev's Instagram, so we already knew about that. But these first three matchups are new, right? And I'm going to talk about these in detail, right? Let's start with the main event. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. I think this will be a good fight. Controversial opinion. I think this will honestly be a good fight. And also, I think Belal will beat Leon, man. I really think he'll beat Leon. And why is that? I have the stats on my side. Belal Muhammad has a higher output than Leon Edwards. Make of that what you will, man. But in a fight that will go to decision, which we know this will go to decision. Don't let a fluke KO fool you. Leon Edwards had a fluke KO over Usman. I know he proved it in the second fight that it was not a fluke. He proved he could beat Usman. But the KO, Leon does not KO people, bro. Leon does not KO people, right? Don't let that KO from the first fight fool you. He doesn't do that, and he will not do that. He will not KO Belal Muhammad. He's not going to KO anybody in the next 10 years. This fight will go to decision. If you're a gambler, bro, put that down. I'm joking. But this fight will go to decision 100,000%. And in a fight that goes to decision, man, if you're going to be the busier striker and land more shots, you're going to win that fight, bro. Belal Muhammad will be the busier striker. Read the stats. He lands, I'm not going to pull them up now, but he lands 4-point-something significant strikes per minute. Belal Muhammad. Compared to Leon Edwards, who lands 2-point-something. Forget about whatever the decimal is, man. That's 4 in the front and 2 in the front, man. That disparity is big. Belal Muhammad is busier. Look at their last fights for each of them. Leon's last fight was Colby Covington. He landed like 50-something significant strikes in that fight. I'm pretty sure I checked the stats for one of my last videos I made. He landed 50-something significant strikes against Colby Covington, who was basically a piñata to be hit. Just standing there, ready to be hit, saying, hit me, Leon. I insulted your father. I'm here not shooting takedowns, not doing anything, not being the active fighter that I was against Usman. I'm not being the same Colby who everyone thought I would be. Hit me, Leon. Tee off on me. Finish me, Leon. I just insulted your father. Leon, go to town on me. Pause, man, pause. But Leon, get busy. Leon didn't do nothing except for leg kick at range, land a cool head kick, land maybe a good punch here or there. If you wanted to make a highlight reel out of that fight, you'd have 3 clips, bro. He had a good head kick. Maybe like, he got a takedown here. Like, what are you going to make a highlight reel if you make a highlight reel out of that fight? Like, there was not much going on in that fight. Leon was not being a busy striker, man. Who are we fooling? He won that fight convincingly so, yes. But that's not a performance you put on when your opponent is just standing there like a giraffe. Excuse me. When he's standing there like a deer in headlights. When he's insulted your family and he's just standing there to be hit. That's not what you do, man, right? What about Belal Muhammad? What was his last fight? Against Gilbert Burns. And he landed like 130-something significant strikes, I believe. Like almost or more than twice as much significant strikes that Leon landed. Or twice as many significant strikes compared to Leon. There we go. I'm getting my English together. Sorry, guys. It's running from me, right? Anyways, so Belal Muhammad was busier in his last fight compared to Leon. And in general, according to the stats, he is busier. He is busier. He lands more strikes per minute than Leon and absorbs less, I'm pretty sure, than Leon, right? Or absorbs a similar amount compared to Leon, but just lands more, right? Like, a fight that goes to decision, man, this stuff, it matters. It's important, bro, okay? Leon will not beat Muhammad. I don't think he will. And I honestly think Belal Muhammad is more well-rounded, to be honest with you, bro. Like, he has the stand-up. He beat, like, people like, what's his name again? How did I forget his name, man? Vicente Luque. He beat him on the stand-up. He didn't like wrestle much in that fight, to my knowledge. I don't know. I never rewatched it, but I watched it live. I remember. This was like 2 years ago now, bro. But he beat Vicente Luque in the stand-up. He beat Gilbert Burns in the stand-up. I know Gilbert Burns was injured, right? But he was showing his skills. He was showing his kicks, his punches, right? He was not wrestling much. He has not wrestled much in his last fights. But if he wants to wrestle, he can. He wrestled against Wonder Boy, and he held him down like crazy, bro. We saw what Shavkat tried to do with Wonder Boy, and I know Shavkat had a broken foot. But still, bro, Edwards was like holding Wonder Boy down. Wonder Boy was like kind of helpless on the ground, right? I think, did I say Edwards was holding Wonder Boy down? I think I said Edwards by accident. I meant Belal Muhammad. I think that was kind of obvious. Slip of the tongue, my bad. Belal Muhammad has good wrestling. Probably better than Covington, to be honest with you. I'll throw that out there. You might think I'm glazing here, right? And I promise you, it's not because of bias. I know Belal is a Palestinian Muslim and I'm a Palestinian Muslim. This is not because of bias, right? If you didn't know that, now you know. It's not because of bias, I promise you, because for the longest time, I thought Edwards was going to beat Muhammad. I was thinking, like, oh, he's probably a cleaner striker, he had some cool highlights against Usman in their second fight, or sorry, the third fight, technically. And he knocked him out in their second fight for the title. He's probably going to be more powerful and cleaner and crisper than Belal. I don't think so, man. I think Belal is honestly a good striker, and I think he's a busier striker, which is going to play a big factor in this fight, right? What else do I have in my notes here? I'm reading my notes on the side. I have a lot to say, and I want to make sure I don't forget anything, right? I think it's honestly better for the UFC if Belal wins. That's another thing I want to mention. I think it's better for the UFC if Belal wins. I know everyone hates on Belal, but I honestly think it's better for the UFC, better for the fans, better for everyone if Belal wins. Leon is a boring fighter. We need to come to terms with that. Leon is not an entertaining fighter, which is kind of funny that people are like dissing Belal for being boring, but not dissing Edwards for being boring. And that was my whole last segment where I was talking about Belal is better than him. He has a higher output, but him having a higher output, statistically speaking, means he is less boring than Edwards. Edwards is more boring than Belal, right? Because Belal is a busier striker. Edwards is doing much less in his fights compared to Belal. Anyways, so that's why it's better for Belal to win, because Belal is less boring. That's number one. Controversial opinion, I know, but he's less boring in terms of his fighting style, or they have the same style, but in terms of his output, there we go. I'm getting my words together. I'm getting my thoughts together. Bear with me. He's less boring in terms of his output. That's number one. Less boring in terms of his trash talk. I'm not saying Belal Muhammad is like the second coming of Conor McGregor, right? He is not. But he tries. He tries to talk trash. What happens is, sure, you get some corny moments, but at least he's trying, bro. It's the same thing with Usman. It's the same thing with Adesanya. When they used to trash talk, bro, yes, it's corny, bro. Yes, he's talking about frozen like Elsa, but at least he's trying, bro. Edwards does not try, bro. Edwards does not try. He is not going to be the first one to say something. I've started to notice this, bro. In a press conference, he's not going to be the first one to say something. He's kind of sitting there like the quiet kid in class, just silent. If the other fighter says something to him or a reporter asks him a question, then he talks. Other than that, he's quiet, bro. Yo, sell your fight, bro. Sell your fight. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. The fight with Colby would have not had hype behind it if Colby did not diss Leon's dad, which is wrong and he should not have done that. I don't condone that. But I'm saying that brought hype to a dead fight, bro. Like, Edwards was not doing any trash talk, bro. He was not selling that fight at all. Colby was trying, with his gimmick about, the red coats or whatever. But okay, I was gonna say that thing about his dad was the nail in the coffin. That's probably not a good analogy to use about someone's dead father. But that was like that's what really pushed the fight, let's say. That last remark about Leon's dad and him doubling down on it, which is crazy. By the way, I think that's very crazy. Like, bro, you lost the fight, bro, despite the blow, just apologize. Like, I don't know. I don't really know, bro. He doubled down on it, said like, his dad's like a drug lord or whatever. Like, bro, I don't think he was. But anyways, that really, really pushed the fight. That really, really promoted the fight. That really got the hype behind the fight. That got all the edits out talking about, okay, Leon's got to get his revenge now. And he did technically, but he didn't do much. He should have knocked him out. He should have made him bleed like crazy. I know he had like a little cut, a little scratch, but he should have made him like suffer, bro. He should have made him suffer. Another thing, Leon is not active. Why is this notification from Uber Eats staying on my screen, bro? It's like, it says 11 minutes ago and it's just frozen on my screen. Like, bro, I'm not ordering. Like, it's just like a random notification about a deal, bro. Let me try and do not disturb. Anyways, as I was saying, man, Leon is not active. Leon is not active, which is a problem. I just try and do not disturb. Why am I getting notified? Anyways, it's a problem when you're boring. There's a reason Adesanya... I'm still getting notifications. I can't believe this. There's a reason Adesanya was so active. And there's a reason Usman was less boring. What am I talking about? I'm going to stick with Adesanya. There's a reason Adesanya was so active. It's because his fights were kind of boring, man. He'd be kicking at range, punching at range, staying at range and just picking apart his opponent a little bit, not doing anything super, super exciting. But he gave us, something in return. He said, listen, I might be boring, but guess what? I'm going to fight 3 times a year. So he's active, but he's boring. On the other side of the spectrum, you'll have a fighter who's super excited but less active. Why? Because he's going to war. He's going to war. A fighter who is super exciting should be fighting like 1 time, maybe 2 times a year. But a fighter who's going in there and kicking people at range and punching at range and being a bit boring like like Edwards does, that guy should be fighting 3 times a year. What does he do though? He fights in March of last year, March 2023. I remember because I had a midterm same day. He fights in March 2023, and he comes back in December 2023. He comes back in December. What the hell? That's like 9 months, bro. What you doing all that for, bro? It's not like you were going to war with Usman, bro. Like, what are you doing, bro? And then he fights in December, and now he's coming back in July. So that's what? How many months is that? Can someone help me out with the counting? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. That's 7 months. Sorry, man. I'm a bit slow. Excuse me. I'm a bit slow. And the fight with the fight he had in December was like December what? Like probably like 13th. I'm just throwing a random number out there. And he's coming back July 27th. So it's more like 8 months. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to paint the picture to you, right? He's taking so much time off and he's not having exciting fights. Like the guy should be coming back quickly, bro. The guy should be making a quick turnaround, but he is not. And I know he was offered on 300, so I'll cut him some slack. He was offered on 300, but the UFC kind of threw with that, like you're offering all these Muslim fighters fights in Ramadan, book something before or after, I don't know. So I'll actually excuse him for that. Because he was accepting fights for 300. So I'll excuse him for that, but he is not active, bro. That is a fact. He's not an active fighter. He's just not an active fighter. I really I don't know what to tell you. And Belal will be active. He was accepting short notice fights against Gilbert Burns. And if he goes into a fight and he's not taking much damage, he'll make a quick turnaround, bro. He will come back in Abu Dhabi for sure. Maybe earlier. I doubt it though, because they'll probably want him for Abu Dhabi. So they'll probably save him for that card. So they probably won't make him do a quick turnaround. And if you think about it, from July you have August, September, October. That's 3 months. So that's already a pretty good turnaround from July to October. If Leon stays the champion somehow, and my prediction is wrong, he will not do a turnaround against Rakhmonov in Abu Dhabi. Maybe the UFC will make him. I don't know. Maybe the UFC will force him to. But I highly, highly doubt it, bro. Rakhmonov has to get through JDM first, because I think the UFC will book that for Perth. That's a different topic, though. But I don't think Edwards would be the type of guy to make that turnaround, bro. I don't think so. But Belal definitely would. That's a 3-month turnaround. It's a good turnaround, bro, okay? Belal will be active. And the last note I want to make about this fight before I move on is Leon's coach said something. I saw this a while ago, but I never made a video about it. Leon's coach said something about how in the first fight, Belal was looking for a way out when he got eye poked. Like, that's crazy, by the way. I just wanted to mention that. That's so crazy. Like, bro, Leon almost took his eye out, right? Like, come on, bro. Talking about looking for a way out. I just wanted to mention that, right? Anyways, we move on to the next matchup. I'm getting a bit of a headache because I'm talking so much. I don't even have water nearby. Aspinall versus Blaydes. I think Aspinall's really good. I'm going to summarize this very quickly. I don't have much to say about this matchup compared to the previous one, right? But I think Aspinall is very good. I think he'll just beat Blaydes. Like, I think he's a beast, bro. And I think there's a reason John's stuck in him. If Blaydes beats him, maybe John Jones. I combined the names there. Maybe John won't duck Blaydes if Blaydes beats him. Depends how he beats him, though. We'll see. But I think Aspinall's very, very good, and that's why Jones is ducking him. Speaking of Jones, that's kind of the main talking point here, which is kind of sad for Aspinall. Am I leaning out of the camera? I hope I'm not moving away from the frame. It's kind of sad. The main talking point about this fight is going to be about, okay, Jones isn't defending, but Aspinall's defending. I mean, maybe it's not sad, but like no one's really focused on the matchup per se, but everyone's talking about, like, where's Jones? Why is the interim being defended and not the undisputed, right? So this fight has, everything about this fight kind of talks about Jones. Even if I went through the comments, which I'm not going to do, but you'll definitely find comments there about where's Jones? Why is the interim being defended? The interim was won in November, defended now in July. The undisputed was won in March of last year. March? Yeah, March of last year. And, is it March? I'm starting to doubt myself here, man. Anyways, the undisputed was won last year and defended never. It's going to be defended this year in November, apparently. That's their goal against Stipe, who hasn't fought in 4 years. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, I understand Jones wants his legacy matchup, and I don't blame him for ducking Aspinall. That's one thing. I don't actually blame him for ducking Aspinall because, like, dude, he's at the end of his career. Like, why does he want to fight a young, up-and-coming killer when he's at the end of his career? Like, he will lose that. Like, he will lose that fight, bro. And, like, people will just kind of doubt everything he's done and be like, oh, he's a fraud all along and he got exposed and blah, blah, blah. He's done so much, bro. Like, he's done a lot of steroids, too. But he's done a lot of proving himself. Had a lot of defenses, a lot of title fights. Proved himself Also proved that he can, freaking get caught cheating and everything. I could diss Jones if I want all day, but let's focus on topic here. He's proved himself. He doesn't need to prove himself again. I don't understand why people want him to prove himself again. I guess it's not so much about that, but it's more of like, okay, Aspinall should be next. It's not about, whether or not we need to see Jones prove himself, right? He's already proved himself, but Aspinall should be next. But I don't blame Jones for not wanting to fight a young up-and-coming killer and get finished at the end of his career. But I think he should be stripped, man, really. Like, I really think he should be stripped of that belt. Just fight Stipe in, like, some no-belt main event. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Like, him getting injured really ruined his career. Really ruined his career. And I don't know why the UFC would set up an interim belt just to not have him fight for the title. Why don't they just have a match? Why don't they just promise Aspinall a fake number one contender matchup with no belt on the line? That way you can duck him all you want, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can just duck him all you want. If the UFC just said, yes, it's a number one contender fight, then Jones can just be like, nah. He doesn't have, like, an interim belt, per se. Like, there's nothing pushing Jones to fight Aspinall in that case, right? But now there is. And now Jones looks like he's ducking, which he is. But I don't blame him, but he should still be stripped. Make this fight for the undisputed, man. Anyways, we'll move on from that. Jones hate will come later. Maybe we'll make a different video about Jones hate. Green versus Pimblett. Let me move the slide. Green versus Pimblett. I think this is a very, 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 very good fight. Because I think Green is going to slaughter Pimblett in his hometown, which is amazing. In Pimblett's hometown. Paddy will not beat Bobby Green. He has no chance of beating Bobby Green. In my opinion, I really don't think Paddy has what it takes to beat Bobby Green. Bobby Green looked great against Jim Miller. I know Jim Miller's an old man and everything, but Paddy looked kind of bad against Tony Ferguson, who's also an old man. Like, he was gassed in the third round with Ferguson. And Ferguson didn't do much to him. Like, all Pimblett was doing was winning the fight, and he got tired of winning, and he started getting gassed. Sorry, I'm getting a headache. I need some water, bro. Anyways, I think Green's a way better striker than Pimblett. I think he has better cardio than Pimblett. And I think, Paddy gassed out against Ferguson. And I think he will gas out against Green. And I think Green will knock him out. There we go. There's my predictions. Pimblett will gas out. Pimblett leaves his chin in the air. Remember the Jared Gordon fight? I remember watching that live. And, like, Pimblett would strike and he'd be like, raising his head every time he, like, freaking throws a jab, bro. Why are you doing that, right? And I don't think Pimblett has crazy power like that to put Green out, right? I know Green has that, like, hands-down fighting style and everything. But I don't think Pimblett has that power and that timing and that speed to catch Green and put him out if he catches him. Like, Jalen Turner had that power. He caught Green. He punished Green. But Green recovered and showed a beautiful performance in that Jim Miller fight. And the good thing with Green is he's a showman. Bobby Green's a showman. So he's going to beat the crap. He's going to beat the piss out of Paddy Pimblett. Put on a show in Manchester. I was going to say London. In Manchester. And I feel like something I'm missing on my notes here. Am I missing something on my notes? Never mind. Anyways, I think he'll put a show. He'll put on a show. He'll put on a clinic on Paddy. I think he'll finish him in Manchester. Probably have a cool moment on the mic. I don't know who he'll call out next. Maybe Moicano. I don't really know. Maybe Moicano. That'd be a good call out. He'll probably call out Moicano. And yeah, I think that'll be a good fight. I think this will be an amazing fight. Anyways, moving on. Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. I'm not gonna talk about this one too much, especially because I talked about the first match. I would talk about the main event a lot, so I'm gonna save you guys from listening to me talk about the rest of these. I also don't have much to say. This has been out for a while. Like, we knew this was gonna be on the card. I'll take probably Allen to win, right? And for the next fight, I'll probably take. I'll be honest with you. I'll probably take Mokaev. I'll be honest with you. I was gonna make a joke. I just had this in my notes. I was gonna make a joke about I'll take Kape to miss weight. That'd be a good money line. Kape to pull out, freaking minus 1,500 odds. But I think Mokaev can pull this off. He just has a way to pull off every single win somehow. Whenever he looks bad, he pulls it off. But I think Mokaev will pull this off. And yeah, I'll do more breakdowns on maybe this matchup later or just the whole main card right before the card, like, so July, whatever, like right before the pay-per-view. I'll put like a whole breakdown video and everything, and I'll go into deep detail. But just to close things off, man, I think this is a great main card. I think, even if Mokaev makes the fight boring, because I know he gets some what's it called? I know he gets some criticism. Like I told you, bro, I'm losing my mind today. I know he gets some criticism, especially for some of his performances, like against Perez. But even if this fight turns out to be boring, I think Kape is gonna really do well in the press conference. That's what I want to say. Kape is gonna put on like a very good press conference. We know Kape will. I think Arnold Allen will put on a show. I think he's never had a boring fight per se. Like I never had a fight where like the Movistar fight. I know he got some criticism from Dana for it being a boring fight. I don't think that was a boring fight at all. I think it was a good fight. I think Arnold Allen's a beast, and I think he's gonna put on a good fight versus Giga Chikadze. I think Green is a showman. I know Green is a showman, and I think he will put on a clinic against Paddy. And I know Aspinall's a tank. He'll probably finish Blaydes in Aspinall. Aspinall's gonna fit. Why am I stuttering over my words today? Can't even close off this video properly, bro. Aspinall will probably get a finish in his hometown, which is good. And I think this fight will be technical, man. I think this fight will be nice and technical. I think Edwards Muhammad will be nice and technical. I don't think it'll be a boring fight. I don't think it'll be a snooze fest. When you see these guys come together who have similar styles, I think they kind of like add to each other. I think it'll just be technical, man. Like I really think it'll be a technical fight. Like think of fights like Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhagen, right? I think it'll be that level of technical, maybe a bit less. I don't think it's gonna be a banger, amazing fight, but I don't think it'll be a boring, dead fight either. I'm honestly just gonna say that, right? And I think Belal's gonna likely carry the trash talk. That's the last thing I wanted to mention. I think he'll carry most of the trash talk. But he'll probably get booed a lot because he's in Leon's hometown. And Leon might be motivated to talk trash more because Leon's in his own hometown now. And the UK fans are going to be cheering. He's going to be like, what are you talking about, mate? Just say something stupid like that. Anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts. I don't want to blabber too much, especially because I'm stuttering a little bit right now and I need some water. And also, it's close to 2 o'clock. I was supposed to be somewhere at 2 and it's 1:50 p.m. as I record this. Wow, I'm going to be late. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Like and subscribe. See you later.